Got so many relationships. We got an audience. It's like, just go left when everybody going right. So I'm like, all right, we talking about finance, we talking about money, but I want to be a fashion icon. So I just decided to be a fashion icon one day.
People are going to see you before they hear you. The main reason we started creating our own threads, and shout out to our brother Mike B, who's been styling us, it really was to pay homage to the people who came before us. And so a lot of the stuff that we wear, we grew up seeing, and like, oh, I remember that moment. Like even what I have on now, I remember when the Bad Boys in '89 was wearing these warm-ups. I remember when we did the Apollo. And I was like, wait, we in New York? Yeah, I remember when Big had a leather jersey on, whether we rocking velour or we rocking terry cloth, like the Sean John was a thing for us. So it was like, yeah, let's pay homage to these people and let's remind people of how unique you can be when you have your own style.
Steady, are you ready? Are you ready?
My mic check is life or death, breathing the snipers.
You see me dressed up, proper in crocodiles.
Fashion for me is moments in time. Like I remember when Nas had the Averex in the Street Dreams remix video, when Big had the Coogee.
We're living better now, Coochie sweater now, drop top.
Yeah, it's just an iconic moment based off of what they wore.
So that's why we work with Mike though, because not only do we get to live through the nostalgia of what we grew up watching, but we know you was part of it. So it's like, yo, who's the perfect person to try to recreate some of these feelings?
An element of hip hop was always about the gear and that fashion and that style. As hip hop grew, the style began to grow because each rapper, they all had their different styles. But as hip hop started to merge, now you're starting to see the different markets now blow. Miami, Luke Skywalker got his style. You had the Miami Hurricane flow with the starter jackets and all of that. Then LA, NWA, they got their style, like, and how they was coming through with the all black on, Los Angeles Kings. And after seeing these different eras of hip hop, I'm starting to see the different eras of fashion change also too.
Starting out, like fashion is something that was a part of my life, my whole entire life. So like I have an older brother and an older sister. So they was always into fashion. My mom was always into fashion. My dad was always into fashion. So fashion for me is just in my blood. And that's something I've been doing since I was a little kid. First day of school, you had to be fresh, for all of the basketball games. And everybody wants to have the newest Jordans on. Everybody wants to have the newest clothes on. So everything was just like a fashion show. And it's like everybody's watching you to see what you got on. I think it was like 7th grade or 9th grade, something like that. And they have like those lists of like most likely to succeed, like best personality. Like I won best dressed. Like I always won the best dress.
When you walked outside, like I said, man, you didn't want to be the person that didn't have the fit on. Like you either had to have the new jeans, or the new shirt, the new fitted, or you had to have the new kicks. And if you didn't, there was consequences for that. It's sad as it sounds. And so like my peers, I used to just watch the older guys to see what they were doing. I watched, my boys, obviously Shaggy, my brother. We always had our own unique sense of fashion, but we always try to stay fresh at all costs. And we always said to each other, like, make sure your hands is clean, make sure your shoes is clean.
Listen, man, Troy came in every single day with something new. New Jordans, new Nikes, new clothes. Like, it was different. Like, we was dead asking him as like 14-year-olds, yo, can we wear your shoes? Like, what's up? I'm not a drippy person, but back then, I was like, dang, like maybe I could really dress up like Troy. Maybe I can get the sneakers he was wearing. I was looking on Google and stuff like, how do I find these kicks? Like, I want to dress just like him, you feel me?
When I walked into a classroom, the kids saw who I was before they heard me say anything. They looked at my feet, they said, oh, okay, he got that. They looked at my tracksuit, they said, okay, he got that on my Nike Tech at the time. At the time, I was rocking every color G-Shock, that was popular at the time. And they were like, wait, he looks like the dope boy on the corner, but he's in the classroom teaching. And so that relatability was like, oh, wait, He looks like the guys I look up to outside of the building, but he's in the building. Oh wait, I don't have to be him outside. I could be this guy right here.
This thing that what Troy and Rashad is doing, talking about the financial literacy and the judicial system and mortgage and stocks and bonds and all of that. Yo, bro, like, not only is that just incredible, what makes it more receptive for the youth is that they look like the youth.
Fashion is a big part of our culture. It says a lot. And for a long time, like, we always spent our money with European designers, with designers that, you know, had nothing to do with the culture, and that was like a status symbol for us. A lot of those clothes I don't like the way they look, I don't like the way they fit, and I don't know those people. Like, it's easy to go into a store and just buy something, but like, most of the stuff that we wear, we actually design it from scratch. So it's like, we're gonna do some high-end fashion, but we're gonna do it on our terms. Like, you know, assets over liabilities. At the time, I didn't even know that was a popular accounting phrase. I just thought about it. I'm like, assets, this is everything that we talk about. Assets over liabilities. Like, you know, I explained it to him, but it was very specific of how I wanted it done. I wanted assets, and then I wanted liabilities underneath it, and then I wanted over, and then I wanted a line kind of going across, because I felt like the line was a stark contrast. And it was like a division problem almost.
When people see that, they automatically think us. And if they don't, they must come from a financial background. Because it's like, wait, assets over liabilities, that's a great slogan. And so it starts conversations, which is great. I've been in all types of communities. And either the person who doesn't recognize us is coming from like the accounting field, or, you know, they're part of a hedge fund. Like, it always opens up the conversation. And when they see it on us, it's like, wait, these are the guys that started it? Oh, these guys know finance? Because this is not the typical look of somebody who comes from a financial background, unfortunately. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to change the stereotype. Seeing it throughout the world is super encouraging, right? They're not just wearing it because it's like, y'all want to support Earn Your Leisure. They're wearing it because it becomes a lifestyle for themselves, for their families, and for their communities.
EYL merch is literally the epitome of what we stand for every single day.
But it's also giving people hope.
A way of fashion, and when I wear merch, I'm reminded every day of Black excellence.
Assets over liabilities.
What it's turned into is just like a cultural phenomenon where people are actually using assets over liabilities in common language. I saw a Gucci man put a post like, my wife's an asset, not a liability. And then like, I see like different rappers like playing around with assets and liabilities. They might not even know where it's actually coming from, the influence, but that started with us as far as our culture. You know, we see Ross, he calls us assets over liabilities. So assets over liabilities has actually become synonymous with Earn Your Leisure. Some people
Assets over liabilities.
Every time. Congrats on the album, man.
Man, you already know, man.
And then it got so popular, like now we even have a show on Revolt called Assets Over Liabilities. So it's become a brand within itself.
They're the new rock stars of our culture, because they may not be rappers, but they're moving like rappers and rock stars, especially with their whole swag and air on how they bringing it. You understand what I'm saying? And just to be a part of this, I feel like has given me like a second breath. What y'all need to do is y'all need to put your seatbelt on and just enjoy the ride, man. 'Cause this leather right here, this is that butter right here that you can spread on your toast early in the morning. You know what I mean? This here is like your collegiate sweater. We wanted to flip it instead of just, you know, doing a regular jersey. We still wanted to keep it athletic, so we just flipped it into the, you know, the collegiate Letterman sweater.
A lot of times fashion is dictated to you. Like, it's like the fall line is like whatever that designer has in his head, that's what he wants the world to look like, and he's gonna tell you. So we reverse engineer that. We say like, this is what we want, and we gonna put it out there, and if y'all rock with it, then fine. Like, you know, when you think about fashion, New York Fashion Week is the pinnacle. That's it when it comes to fashion. That's, you know, where you get credibility. That's where all of the press comes. That's when designers make their name, where new lines are broken. And I'm like, all right, you know, financial literacy, business, we did Invest Fest, but how do we do something that nobody else is doing, nobody else is expecting us to do, go completely left when everybody's going right? When you think of EYL, you think of the biggest. So when you are the biggest, you can't just limit yourself to one area. So we're going to do an activation at New York Fashion Week, blending financial literacy with music and money and fashion. And now New York Fashion Week, we're going to be global all over the world. Just shows you that anything is possible.